Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Away Day Show. And it's a momentous episode. He's back. We found him again. He can now help us out with FFP. He's back and doing tax. He knows what's going on. Welcome back, Tots.
Yeah, great to be back. One on, one out.
Yeah, we thought we'd had three, but no.
Yeah.
Short-lived.
A bit tired, he says.
Abuse Flynn in the chat. Come on, guys. TikTok, get on Flynn's back again.
Yeah, great to be back, though.
Yeah.
Excited for this week's episode. Missed out the last couple of weeks, but
he's back.
It's all right.
The prodigal son's returned.
I was not demoted, everyone.
No. We didn't fire him. He still got the contract. But what a week to be back, though, because our team, we'll get on them last, but our team did quite a number last night.
Very excited.
Very exciting. Kick us off what we learned from the weekend. I got a good one this week, and I was proud of my efforts.
Yep.
I said it's a bad week to be in claret and blue. West Ham lost 6-0. Aston Villa lost to Man United and closed that gap up. And Burnley lost again whilst Sheffield United won. So all those teams struggling. You know, I think Aston Villa's downturn now a real reality.
Yep.
West Ham, your boys, they've had a bit of a stinker rough few weeks. They haven't won yet in 2024. And then Burnley, I know it's Liverpool, but like when Sheffield United win and you lose and the points gap becomes level, it's just like tough weekend viewing for all those teams.
Very tough. I'll go on to what I learned from the weekend. Big one, actually. I learned that Luton, have probably missed the biggest opportunity of their season, I'd say.
Absolutely. It was to Sheffield as well, who have the worst
terrible.
team.
So I was looking and they would have went above Forest.
Yep.
And they would have gone 4 points clear of Everton.
Yeah, that was the one.
So that would have been huge. I'm not saying they would have stayed up, but if you go back on the bookies would start to pushing them towards being more than a 50% chance. I'd probably say right now it's probably at about 10 to 15
around that mark.
And it would have hit the 35 to 40% mark. They would have escaped from Burnley and Sheffield, which they already have to a degree, but completely gone over 10 points away from them.
Yeah.
Put a gap on Everton, made Everton really rock in the bed.
Yeah. I'm looking at it now. So Sheffield United 13, Burnley now 13, Everton 19, then Luton 20. They
could have been 23.
Took 23.
That's a huge opportunity missed at home as well.
At home, they're very good at home. Nottingham Forest, they would have a game of hand in them. They're on 21. You look at the top, Liverpool 54 points now. A game ahead of City on 52. Arsenal 52 and then Tottenham 47.
City do still have the game in hand.
They still have the game in hand, yeah. And Aston Villa 46 and United 41. And there's a bit of a gap to Newcastle and West Ham and Brighton are sort of falling into their own sort of category as 8-9.
Yeah, even you looking at United now, they're starting to break away from the other teams. Yeah. So it looks like the top six to a degree is cemented. It's now, I'd say there's two fights on. There's the fight for fourth.
Yep.
United aren't in that fight yet, but I think they have the chance to be in that fight. And then you've got the fight for first. So there's two different groups within the top six. I'd say United are a little bit in their own league at the moment.
A little bit.
Very interesting to see. I was having a look after the win this morning at the bookies, and United are paying still something like $7 to finish to make top four. Which I don't know. I'm ruling Aston Villa out of that race, so I think it's a 2-horse race. Then Tottenham do have the points on the board, but we know what Tottenham's like. We know that Tottenham have still got a bit of an unstable team.
Yep.
In terms of squad rotation every week, they're starting to remind me a little bit of like a Brighton. You look at their midfield three that they started with and was so pivotal in their early months of the season is a bit dismantled at the moment. Whether that's because people have overtook in terms of favour, injuries, other stuff. They're still getting the wins, but you look at that Brighton game, late win again. They don't look as strong as they did at the start of the season, I'd say. But they're 6 points above United, so that's a lot of points with only 13, 14 games to go.
Like that,
So it'll be interesting to see. I think United are going to obviously be in the worst position because they got to put the points on the board. But I'd say they're in better form at the moment. They've started to find some momentum. I'd say probably apart from the defence, their midfield and forwards are working excellently, way better than I've seen it work as a front six in years, to be honest. Because if we go back to last year, we were very much built on the back four and maybe Casemiro holding them, that back six with the four defenders, centre back, Casemiro. And now it's like we're built on the front six because we got defenders changing week in, week out, whether it's Shaw that goes off for half time, Martinez that's out. It's so unstable at the back, which is a bit concerning for me because defense really wins you games in the long run. I know attack can win you games 3 points here, 3 points there. But if you talk about a bundle of games, it's really the defense. But you look at people like Maguire and Varane last night. Varane played excellent. Maguire doesn't look like Maguire from 18 months ago. Don't get me wrong, he's no world-class centre-back that we bought him, but he's definitely well and truly capable of performing week in, week out at a stable average, which is all we need at the moment.
Right now, it's what you need. You just need someone to just
he's nowhere near playing as bad as what he did when we're going back 18 months now. He's definitely a capable centre-back. Is he a United Premier League winning centre-back? Nowhere near, but he can definitely do a job.
Time will tell. We'll talk about United a little bit later on, but starting off with the first game of the weekend, City 2-0 over Everton. Quickly on this, it was inevitable they're going to score, but fair play. Everton held on for 55 minutes. They looked very good in terms of they had the odd counter attack. They were compact. I think they were rue some missed chances. Harrison, the DCL, a few sort of fumbles in the final third. If you score first, the Etihad, sometimes you can get on top of them. It's not the most hostile place to play. So if you get an early goal, you could change that game. I think they'll just miss they had the half chances. You got to try and take some of those, and over time, obviously, you're going to break you down. When you bring De Bruyne, when you bring who else are bringing off the bench? They brought on Grealish, and it's just these names that come on. You can't stop that, right? It's inevitable to happen. And obviously, Haaland scores 2 goals again.
So he's got a brace. I'm pretty sure that's his first goal in 10 match weeks or something. I know there's injuries and stuff to come in.
First in 7 games he's played, though. I think, something like that.
In 7 games he's played.
I'm pretty sure that was
but he would have missed 6.
In there as well,
because if I'm going back, winding back the clock a little bit, I'm recalling that he had 14 after 11 games, or am I?
Something like that. He was definitely 2 or 3 ahead of
games. The games. Yeah. And now we're at match week 25 going into it.
We're going into 25 now,
Yeah, so that's 13 games, including injuries. So, it sounds about right. 7 games he would have played, 6 maybe he missed.
Yeah. So. It's inevitable, though. It was his longest gap, I think, between goals or something like that.
It's crazy, though, because you think about it, he hasn't scored since... If you said to me there's a player, no matter who it was, even going back into the Ronaldo eras and stuff, there was a player that hasn't scored in 13, 14 match weeks. Whether that's due to injury or not, it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
And they're still two goals clear on top. It's insane. And even when he's been playing, it doesn't feel like he's that impactful. So I don't even know what's really going on. Probably a testament a little bit to City, always going to create chances for that number 9. I think he's a brilliant fox in the box, the best I've seen, to be honest, ever. I don't think his whole round game is that great, but if we're talking about pure fox in the box, he's the best I've ever seen play.
In terms of our modern Premier League era, you don't think of many others that
even if we're going to go outside and talk about actual strikers that were in the box. So you got the likes of Suarez and stuff and Lewa, but they also are quite good. I'd say they got a better all round game. Yeah. But in terms of their presence in the box,
he's just an isolated guy.
Haaland presence in the box would be
I guess
well above
you
theirs.
extrapolate it that he doesn't do much around the ground. He's not more of a linker player. He's
more
of a finisher. That obviously,
but that's what City need because
when you got Bernardo, you got De Bruyne, and you've got Matheus Nunes started this game. Well, you had Calvin Phillips. All of these, you got so many different players in that system. You don't really need him to drop in
with the balls they put in the box as well. They put excellent balls in the box. They're always if you watch Haaland's runs, testament to him because. It is an art in itself to make some of those runs. Some of the positioning he has is amazing. If you watch him, he goes out through darts front post, flicks back post, puts himself in between both centre backs for the header.
The best runs when he comes on the top of on top of a screen and comes that sort of wrapped shape. Yeah, and he'll come near post and somehow left foot or right foot will end up smacking the top corner.
His positioning is just amazing, especially for someone so youthful in their career.
It's just knowledge. He knows where the ball's going to land. And when you've got De Bruyne,
his coaches because it isn't purely ability. It's a lot mental.
IQ. It's IQ.
So, and I think the mental aspect of football is taught. I think obviously you can go through a lot of players and they are technically gifted. They've trained like with professionals and stuff like that, had coaches who had a wealth of knowledge. But in terms of the mental side of stuff, you've got to have someone that's, you're not going to just wake up one day and go, I'm going to make a darting run from post. I'm going to curve my run. Someone's taught him that. And the fact and how his depth of knowledge in that arena, how well his knowledge is in that arena is.
So it's obviously some coaching. It's obviously some natural as well. Like, we're in an era that we got Jude Bellingham as well. They're both
it's just
the same
elegant to watch.
They both play like that though. Bellingham, you saw I don't know if you watched the game on the weekend. Ridiculous the way he just finds to pick the ball up and has that know-how to score in front of goal. Yeah. Sends the keeper, drops the keeper and just rolls it past into the back of the net. Same with Haaland. The first goal was just purely just like smashing the ball. He just got the ball, belted into the net.
Yeah.
Pickford had fair play. Pickford had handled it somehow, but had no chance. And the second goal, De Bruyne though. Those two IQs link up perfectly. Great ball from De Bruyne. And Haaland has half the ground to make up, pace, then the finesse. So you got the power finish, the finesse finish. Yeah. Like the whole package is there. And once he starts scoring one, now that mini rut is over, this just goes so that City can go on and run on now.
7 games. And it's like, his biggest like dry spell.
That was the only thing missing for them in this group. And now they've got that and they've got all the players back. They're going to just run away with it now.
Yeah,
it seems stupid.
I don't understand how anyone can, like, we got the Flynns of the world and the Arsenals and the Liverpools that, like, are obviously got more points on the board. But City got a game in hand, which puts them first. City have done this week in, week out, year in, year out. And the players they have are just a level above, I think, both of Liverpool and Arsenal's team. Whether that's because of experience or just pure technical prowess, I don't know.
Just waiting for that Liverpool City game. That's gonna be a big one. That we'll see. We'll see how good Liverpool really are. Next game, quickly to touch on Fulham 3, Bournemouth 1. Pretty straightforward. This one for Fulham. I still don't know how the hell to rate Fulham. They're 1 week rubbish, 1 week great.
Yeah.
So
it's a hard one.
Predictions make it hard. This makes it hard. Bournemouth are very good in this game. They had a lot of chances, a lot of possession, but again, there's a few games this weekend where
I think as the year goes on, more teams get found out. I think early on, if you watch, I'll give you the best way to explain it. Even teams like Everton who come out the doors, they had a few different tactics with the decore and all these type of stuff. But teams end up finding you out. So when you're versing those type of teams, so early on in the season, when teams like Everton and the Fulhams are versing the bigger teams, they're able to scrape points and scrape wins because it's like this arena of unpredictability.
Yeah.
Whereas now they've got the same thing going on. Decore's that false 9, or whether you go to Fulham's got.
It's just a weird thing though, because there's been no continuity for Fulham. Like they get Broja signed, but they don't start him. Muniz starts. Yeah. He's got now 3 goals in 2 games, but I don't think he's the answer to their questions. You got Willian playing some like fantastic games, some awful games. Pereira had a good game 2 weeks ago. He's rubbish now.
I think the ability of players they got though, it's a lot of those players that were at the bigger clubs. That the reason they're not at the bigger clubs is because of their continuity.
That's the thing that I don't get though, how then they can go and beat a Bournemouth team. I think I hold in high
because they're players who were regarded as great potentials, but the reason they didn't make it at their big club
doesn't explain why Fulham are so like
is because they've got the ability, but they don't have the consistency.
Yeah,
there's a lot of players like that in the Premier League. But
consistency for a big club versus consistency for a small club is totally different because the game plan is so much more simplistic at a smaller club. So you'd expect.
I would say Fulham's game plan isn't that simplistic.
Oh, it is nowadays. It's not the Fulham of last season. They play with 30-40% possession. They try and hit you on the counter. They play quick. Once they get the ball back, they sprint quickly and try and catch you out. Maybe that is hurting them because they've changed a little bit. But
I think Fulham are one of those teams that if they don't score early, they don't.
It's good. Yeah, I think Fulham struggle in front of goal. When they do score, they win. You see, whenever Jimenez was scoring goals, when he had that little good patch, they'll win.
Yeah.
Now that Muniz has scored into back-to-back, but they just showed Burnley a week ago. Like, you beat Bournemouth pretty convincingly 3-1, but then you draw to Burnley 2-2. Like, it's just like...
Yeah, I'm not really too sure what's going on.
I'm lost. I was frustrated with Bournemouth. They had some decent opportunities, but not clinical enough. And then one we're going in depth for our first segment here. Liverpool 3, Burnley 1. I kept a close eye on this game. interesting one. Burnley made it hard for Liverpool.
Yeah.
And Burnley now, I think, have acclimatised this new style of we're going to be more like Sean Dyche was, sitting nice and narrow, sitting compact. But we're going to use Vincent Kompany's ability to play out when we get the ball. When we win it, then we'll start playing around and playing in triangles. And they could have had 1 or 2 goals in here. The former Chelsea player Fofana, he had a few chances he missed. They already drew level 1-1 going into half time. But if it was Trafford, we all sort of back this guy as the future keeper. But he missed, like he came out for the corner. We know with Onana, keepers coming out for one. Came out for the corner, missed it, and Jota had the free goal just to nod the first goal in. And I just thought if he hadn't done that in the first half, what could have happened? Yeah, because if Burnley take it 0-0 to the 70th minute, Liverpool just come off a 3-1 loss to Arsenal. It's just one of those moments I look back, and I know I'm being very critical in one moment, but when you're Burnley going away to Anfield, mistakes like that you just can't do. You can't do that.
Yeah, it's very hard to make a big comment off it. I think it's a little bit reactionary.
I'm just saying that kills them.
I know, but it's hard because you look at that mistake by Trafford, a very young keeper who prior to this season, I don't think had played a single minute of senior football in his life.
It was Bolton. He wasn't Premier League though. He wasn't.
Okay, so it was at Bolton last year.
He was at Bolton, yeah.
I thought he was playing for their under-23s, and then he got signed because of the under-23 World Cup.
He had a good under-23. He had a great season with Bolton, and he was good with City in their under-23s prior to that. So he got loaned from City to Bolton, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So, and obviously, he's definitely a great keeper. It's just if you're Burnley, I think Vincent Kompany would be kicking himself. They had a chance there. Foster could have scored a few.
Yeah, they did have a chance, but it's always going to be hard against Liverpool. That's where the big teams really outstretch themselves from the rest. Second
half, they put him to the sword. Great goal from Diaz, stooping down to get the header off a Elliott cross, and Elliott hit Nunes, and Nunes finally scored. He's hit a few posts in the last few weeks.
We know how long until Salah's back?
He's back in training next week, is what Klopp said. Yeah. So we're looking at an interesting point.
So he's going to be back for the United game?
He should be.
Is that 2 weeks?
That's a little bit longer, isn't it? I don't think it's 2 weeks. Because we got City in 2 weeks, and after that...
I thought we had Liverpool in 2 weeks.
Liverpool versus Manchester
United. I thought we got Luton then...
That's at the 6th of April, so a while away.
Oh, okay.
So you're looking at 2 or 1.5 months. They've got City is the big game on the 10th of March.
Who do we have after Luton then?
Fulham and then City.
Okay, yeah.
So Liverpool have got Brentford and Luton. Rest him for those 2 games. Then I think it's the the Carabao Cup final, play him in that. And then they got Forest away, maybe blend him in the big game versus City at home on the 10th of March. For Liverpool, I just think you got to keep winning and just keep it close.
Yeah, you've got to do that because, we've all agreed that City has done this so many times.
They're the kings.
But the only way you're going to continue it is if you keep taking 3 points, keep taking 3 points,
take as far as you possibly can.
Yeah,
and do the reverse of what they've done to you. Do what City have done to Liverpool every year. Take it to the final day and just cause chaos. Because Liverpool in the receiving end twice of leading the Premier League after 50 minutes and then go in second place after 90 minutes. So if I'm Liverpool, give City a taste of their own medicine. Keep it tight. Nick one at the end. Maybe City draw, maybe City lose or you win. It's just give Jurgen Klopp the respect, the trophy.
Yeah, don't rule Arsenal out either. They've had a good start to 2024.
I just don't think they're as good as these 2 teams do. I
think Arsenal just have a lot of inexperience. They're very inexperienced. I think you look at the players that were so good last year. That was their first year of coming out of their shell. So the likes of Saka and Odegaard, and don't get me wrong, they're excellent players.
Superb.
But you've seen it so many times with the young players. They just sometimes take that big step up. And when they take such a big step up, we're talking the step up that some of these players took was becoming world-class players. There's sometimes they got to take one step back to take
Martinelli is the one for me.
Martinelli, even Odegaard this year.
Odegaard time. I think Saka's been the most consistent for them.
But even Saka, would you say he's having a better season than last year?
See, the stats thing's quite funny because apparently his stats are almost exact same. But I still think, you're right. I don't think he's been as good.
Yeah, not as... But it also makes his life a lot easier.
Yes.
When Odegaard and Martinelli are firing because he's not the man
he doesn't have to solo, do.
Yeah, has all the pressure.
Yeah, so big win for Liverpool in the fact that you got to bounce back. So they got that bounce back result.
Definitely.
Good performance. I want to see Nunes starting. I know he's chaotic, but he's crazy. I don't know why he got benched versus Arsenal. I'll forever be confused. Sure. But again, they have to deal with Salah coming back, Szoboszlai being out for a bit. Good to see Endo back. Endo and McAllister is a good midfield duo. I'm a fan of that. So that was good to see back. And obviously they're just trying to get Trent and Robbo fit again. So Liverpool just sort of, maybe bluffing a little bit, just sort of holding their cards close to their chest and saying, we're just going to wait until that City game. Maybe that's where they go on, put the marker down and really make a count this season. But disappointing weekend for Burnley, the fact that, now they're equal with Sheffield United on points, which is quite embarrassing in that way there. That leads us to our next segment. So you missed the original one, which is the underrated 11. Okay. Now, this week, I'm going to go the overrated Premier League 11. I found this really hard because I thought it'd be easy, but there's a few names here I was like, oh shit, should I really name him as overrated? It's going to be...
I was the same. So there was some players I wanted to name as well.
Yeah.
That I didn't name because I feel like they already get put to the sword.
Right, fair play.
So that's what I went like.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example starting off with goalkeeper. I wanted to put Onana, but I feel like he's already put to the sword.
I might have subconsciously done that because, I didn't do Onana either, but that's where
Yeah, so like I think if you go 12 months ago, like you go overrated. Yeah. But I feel like he's copped so much crap.
Everyone expectations are down here now.
Yeah, no one thinks he's overrated. Everyone just thinks he's shit.
Yeah, everyone just thinks he's bad. Yeah.
I haven't heard anyone talk good, so you can't say everyone's hyping him.
No, exactly.
For what he's performing. Everyone is talking
that
how he's playing. Yeah. Whatever people are saying is exactly how he's playing. He's shit. Performed all right on the weekend.
I'm going to say you did a fair performance on the weekend. Do you want to go through your 11 first?
So the whole 11?
We'll go through the whole thing and then have a comparison.
So Edison in goal.
Right, okay, yeah.
Digne left back.
Wow, okay, yeah.
Duncan Zuma.
Zuma?
Yeah.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Semedo.
Right, okay. All right, we've got different teams.
Caicedo, Amrabat, and Szoboszlai.
Yep, no one's the same yet.
Martinelli, Gakpo, Almiron.
Wow. Okay. Almiron's a good shout. Okay. Mine's very different. Mine's a lot of top team heavy. So I've got Rob Sanchez in goal. Again, it's probably close to the Onana one though, because their expectations are dropping
I don't know if
quickly.
anyone thinks that Sanchez is that great.
But when he was signed though, I think
people dropped when he got signed, which is the funny thing.
But people still thought he was a decent keeper.
Definitely.
So, but I guess right now,
up at the moment.
Yeah, right now it's probably on the edge. I've got Zinchenko left back.
I can see it.
Everyone talks about Trent not defending. This guy doesn't defend either. He's useless at defense. So I think he gets slid under the radar so much. I'm going to put Zinchenko in.
Yep.
I've got Fofana at the back, and I've also put Dunk. I feel bad putting Dunk, but
so we do have the same.
That's the one player we have the same though, because I think two players the same. I feel bad with Dunk because I think he's a very good player, but that Brighton hype helps him. And Fofana, he's 80 mil, doesn't play, so that's the reason why I've got him in there. I've got Reece James, same thing at right back.
But Reece James, I don't think he's overhyped. I think he's just his availability.
In a way, the hype is like he plays every game. Even it helped me to do it, but I had to put it because the guy has played how many games this year?
Yeah. Well, didn't you put him quite?
I had him second in the. But then you see what Chelsea's happened now since he's been out.
He's a very good player, but your biggest asset is your availability.
You guys always say it. That's sort of played into my point here.
Yeah.
My midfield gone Calvin Phillips, Mason Mount, and Kai Havertz as my midfield three.
Yeah, okay, so this is where I get it. I think Kai Havertz and Mason Mount, I both wanted to chuck them both in. Yeah. But when I see overhyped, I think of players that everyone talks is here, but they play here. Everyone right now is talking about Havertz and Mount as here, and they play there.
But Mount was
they're both crap. But
Mount was signed for 60 million and was number one Ten Hag signing. And he's played
But Ten Hag isn't the one hyping up the players.
Yeah, but there was hype around it because he was number one signing though.
I don't know if there was. I get where you're coming from, but I'm talking right now in the season. I don't think anyone has any hype. I haven't even heard Mount's name. That's
probably true my point because he should be talked about, but he's been. I said the other day
because he's been shit. It's not about hype. Hype is no,
but this is overrated. He's been overrated. What he's done nothing of.
Yeah, in terms of money wise, but in terms of pundits, fans.
But you can't tell me
clubs overrating him. No, I don't think anyone has.
You can't tell me he was Chelsea's best player the last few seasons.
No, not last year.
Thiago Silva was the best last year, but you talk about the most consistent player of the last 3 years.
When they won the Champions League.
I'm thinking about Champions League 21-22. Do you not reckon he was their most consistent player through that whole period?
Yeah, but 21-22 is going back a bit now.
We're in 20. We just started 24.
Yeah, but we're going back okay.
And last season, everyone was bad other than for Thiago Silva.
We're going back over 18 months. It's a long time.
I think 60 million, Chelsea's best player.
People were having a goal at Rashford, and we're only going back like 6 months.
Well, that might lead us to my next point. And Kai, there's a tough one with Kai Havertz. He's performed all right, but still, I reckon for the money and for what he can do, I think he's a little bit overrated. I went Martinelli on the left. I went Evan Ferguson up front because he's someone that
just disappeared off the scene of the earth.
Danny Welbeck's starting over him.
Yeah.
So that says a fair bit about where he's at currently. And I went Rashford off the right as well.
Yeah.
As someone that...
I'm agreeing with you only because of United fans. So United fans...
The United taxes a lot of tax on this year.
Yeah, United fans overhype. But as a football player himself, I feel like to a degree he was like a little bit underhyped like last year. Like,
that's a big thing to say.
Everyone abuses Rashford. When we're talking at one stage of the year, there was talk. They're like, I mean, honestly, one stage of the year, I reckon around January last year, where I reckon he continued like that. He could have took the PFA Player of the Year off Haaland.
But that's where I come from though, because they were circling around. He was in Ballon d'Or conversations, stuff like that. Look where he's ended up now.
Yeah, but I know what you mean. So he's definitely been overhyped, but he's been overhyped as of 12 months ago.
I feel like he's been overrated his whole career. He has one good year, one bad year, one good year, one bad year. That's overrated because a rated player is someone who's consistent.
You know what Rashford is? He's an old-fashioned player, and I'll tell you what I mean. There's a lot of players that, if they played today, wouldn't be that big. He, like, as a moment player, is the best, but that's how a lot of players were 10 years ago, moment players.
But you say that 10 years ago, but they still would put in consistent performances. Not output. I'm not talking about output, I'm talking about performances. He went missing last night. He's been, like, in this recent good
I don't know if he completely went missing last night.
He
should have put that one away.
But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just the all round. And this is where I go back to where you and me have had debates all year long.
No, but I've been very firm on that I'm in agreement, firm, whatever you want to call it, that Rashford is an output player. If Rashford doesn't score, Rashford doesn't play well.
Yes. So then, like, and this is where, so I understand that part of it, but if you want to play in a successful team, you need to be more than just output. You need to do some other things. And in recent weeks, he has been doing that. He has been helping the left back out.
I think I think the last 6 weeks he's been actually playing really well.
Like but I think he's done that because he's done a bit of everything.
Yeah.
He's passed the ball more. He's helped out defensively. Last night, Jacob Ramsey ran rings around Manchester United, and because it was Garnacho and Rashford not tracking back to help out.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. If you're not going to impact the other end in a game where you're going to have 35-40% possession, track back. Or at least
you're definitely
link
right.
the game up. So, I'm not getting wrong. The last 5 weeks, he's been incredible. Like, back to where he was last season. Passing the ball more as well. But I think, as a player, if we can extrapolate this to 4 years, he's overrated.
It's like what Flynn said, though. He's one of those players that, when you're a defender, you're just feared of him because he's so pivotal in a United front three in terms of creating something out of nothing. That's where you go back in the years of when we used to verse City and Liverpool under Ole, and it was a counter-attack, what he could do. Because I don't think there's many players in the Premier League that can do what he does. Like, he starts to remind me of those players like Hazard and stuff that just do nothing.
Yeah.
But when they get the ball at their feet, you're just like, they could have 3 people in front of him cutting in from the left-hand side, but he cuts in, he moves so quick, drops the shoulder. He just hits the ball as hard as he can, but somehow his strike is like, he knuckles it every time that it like dips and moves, and it's a very fearful like proposal for a defender to see Rashford running at them. But at the same time, I understand what you mean. If he's not got the ball running it in the final third, does he really offer much? No.
And I think, just where everyone's put him, I think he's been below that across the last 18 months. The other ones we're touching on as well, we both had Martinelli. I'm not sure.
Well, I think Martinelli, to an essence, was the exact same as Rashford.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure he can be excluded from this conversation. He's had one great year.
No, but I don't think the reason... Okay, so if you go back 2 years ago, it was like Martinelli, he's a good youngster. Well, he needs to produce more. But I've seen very much similarities between Martinelli and Rashford. In terms
Absolutely.
If they don't both put goals and assists on the board, they do nothing. They're not. Martinelli helps tracks back.
Yeah, that's the thing I like about Martinelli.
But in terms of his actual ability to play link up and stuff, he's got none of it.
No, I don't think. Yeah, he has. I think he has a little bit more rush in all the areas.
He's got more effort.
He can just go invisible through patches, and if he loses that ability just to be clinical in the final third, his ability to find a pass, I think, is on level with Rashford. The ability to see a pass and nail the pass.
Yeah.
They don't have that. Whereas Martinelli in the link-up, build-up play, I think, is a little bit better, and tracking back's a little bit better, and effort's a little bit better. But when it comes to that
better, that
clinical
is
part, I think link-up up the ground is much better than Rashford is. One-touch play, in and out triangles, working in, ducking inside, coming back outside. He's got that more. He's got that IQ more than Rashford is. Rashford is a very simplistic
I don't know.
footballer.
I think it's also how Arsenal play.
Yeah, but
if you continually play like that, you can do it. Like
United
never play like Rashford's passing. Rashford, it's a bit hard to actually notice to really be critical on Rashford's passing. Because if you look at a lot of the passes that we're expecting from Rashford, we're expecting these balls to cut into Bruno or play a ball through to Højlund or do this. Or
yeah,
put
but
a
you know
ball
why?
across the Garnacho.
Because he hasn't played the simple pass in the first place. Because he hasn't laid the ball off to Kobe Manu or Casemiro.
I'm going to disagree for one reason. I'm being critical on Rashford here, but most of the time when Rashford gets the ball, it is a lot different to when Martinelli gets the ball. Martinelli gets the ball on the left wing, and he's got the ball, and there's all the defenders of the other team in front of him. He's right on the touchline, and for him to score, he's got to take on 5-6 players. Rashford gets the ball with all he's got is the left back that he's got to attack. And it's usually a 3-on-3 or a 3-on-4 that in that moment right there, I don't think Ten Hag would want him to pass back to Manu. I agree. Sometimes he's got to a bit more than he does. But I would say 70% of the time, he's got to attack the space.
If it's a counter press or a counter attack, yeah, go ahead. We're one of the best teams at counter pressing. So you get more situations like that. But in a way, I think you don't see what Martinelli does for United because Rashford can't do that. I think some of the weaknesses, maybe not this season, but last season especially, was that our front three or the way they all worked, they weren't good enough to link play up and to play slower. We were really bad when we were slow. Everyone agreed with that. United fans were annoyed when we play slow because we don't have the capacity to create when we're slow.
From the back.
But then you've got Varane, Martinez versus Saliba and Gabriel. And any day of the week you could transfer that over.
Yeah, but
Luke Shaw versus Zinchenko.
I want to go back here. Martin has played 2 games, and in both those 2 games he played against Villa against...
Yeah, but was Rashford any different? West Ham? Was Rashford any different, though?
No, I think completely different. I think the whole team outlet was different. The little tiny thing that Martinez drove the ball into the midfield, which then freed up Manu, or freed up Cass, or freed up whoever was playing, then allowed more space. The thing is, those little things of driving into midfield, you see from City as well. They're big on it. Stones drives into the midfield. It creates space for your midfield. So what happens is, when Martinez drives into the midfield, he's already past the striker. So one of the midfielders has to go to Martinez, which frees up one of our midfielders. When it frees up one of our midfielders, we're now got one person free that they're now attacking our... And it's a lot easier than for our forwards. Trust me, I saw a difference in Rashford those 2 weeks.
I think he's hitting more. But with Martinelli, though, he can do it when it has to be slow, and he can do it when it has to be fast. Rashford only has one pace. He has very simplistic IQ. Martinelli sees more things. Does he convert in the final third in terms of passing? This season, I haven't seen it. But in his link-up play, I think it's night and day. I think it's night and day.
Yeah, that's a fair enough.
But just run over your team one more time so we confirm them all.
So Edison, Digne, Dunk, Zuma, Semedo, Caicedo, Amrabat, bit of a World Cup merchant there. Szoboszlai, Martinelli, Gakpo, and Almiron.
And I went Sanchez, Zinchenko, Fofana, Dunk, James, Phillips, Mount, Kai Havertz, Martinelli, Evan Ferguson, and Rashford. 2.
Yeah, well, you're always going to get different here because...
We're subjective, very subjective.
Yeah, there's no, based off really this year. There's no... recency biased or anything like that.
Just players that have not been at their best, the worst out of that across the last 18 or so months. Next game was Wolves, who lost 2-0 to Brentford. Yeah. Another surprise result as well. Another one like the Bournemouth-Fulham game where Wolves had 71% possession. They had a lot of chances, but not any clear-cut ones. And Brentford just did what Thomas Frank used to do last season so well. Absorb some pressure, get a corner header, and then get Tony on the end of a ball across the box. And it just feels like Brentford got their mojo back now that Tony's there, more pace in the
I think
goals.
it's one of those things, it takes the pressure off the other. I don't know necessarily, don't get me wrong, Tony's an amazing player. But I don't know necessarily is Tony comes in and there are 1,000 times like better now. I think it's more that it's the mentality. So when Tony comes back in, the pressure comes off. The other people to score. It's like a bit more pressure goes onto Tony, and Tony's shown in the past that he's capable of handling that pressure. So, and it's a bit more confidence as well. Confidence is a real big part of football these days. I think you're looking at so many players like Rashford's and those type of players who lose confidence. And yeah, I think Tony's a huge inclusion, but don't underestimate how much better the other players are playing now that Tony's back as well.
That's sort of go, but I think you sort of play into my point. The fact that confidence enough to play this style where you're going to have to absorb a lot of pressure. They've done this all season. They've not played on the front foot at all this season. But when you've got a guy that will score 10 out of 10 times almost, when you do go forward, I think they only had 7 shots to like 20 shots in this game. But there's 7 shots, 6 of them are on target, and 2 of them in the back of the net. That's sort of thing. And smart. It's like the corner. I don't know how they worked it to get the free header, but they somehow got a free header on the 6-yard box. So it's Thomas Frank's IQ of just, we're going to play this style and we're going to sort of spring a press here and there. They sprung the press a few times nicely. And when you get the ball to Tony, and even now Morpay's in the form of his life again, you're going to score goals. I think it's our point sort of combined, because when you have Tony there, you're confident you can absorb pressure and hit the odd one on the counter attack.
Yeah, definitely.
Like Man City, like Nottingham Forest a few weeks ago. And then when you have this confidence with Tony scoring, then you can start, developing this style of game play when it's not just sitting in. Because when you just sit in forever, you saw what happened at the start of the season, conceding goals. The reverse fixture, Wolves battered them like 3-0 or something. So I think we'll start seeing improvement because of what Tony's there. But now that he's going next year's season, it's, focus on now, obviously, but I think they're fine. But yeah, going forward, it's going to be a bit of what
they'll have funds though to hopefully make a replacement.
Hopefully, something like Tony, it feels like at the moment. Now the next one, the relegation 6-pointer, Luton 1, Sheffield United 3.
Yeah, we made a bit of a comment on this one early on, and
I gotta just this stadium actually it must be cursed. The handball rule right now, I do not know what's going on.
But it's been so.
It was so good for 10 weeks. We were good.
Was it good though, or was it just that there was no controversial handball?
Well, that's good in the Premier League's books. And last weekend, me and Nathan touched at the Liga. There was a dodgy few penalties given for Real Madrid, and Girona got one ruled out. And I'm like, oh, maybe the Liga's have a stinker. But we come back to the Prem. Headers from here to here again. We're doing this thing again with the arms up to jump. The opponents, their heads into an arm that's about 0.5 metres away, and they're giving handballs.
Yeah,
how are you supposed to jump?
It's just disgusting. And you know what? There's no clear law out there on handball. They've got to come to a conclusion on what is handball. Is handball from the elbow down? Is handball... Go through each scenario and use it. Use the scenario. Use the money that the Premier League has. Use all the technology we have. Use all the people, all the referees. Gather them together and make a distinct idea of what handball is. And write it. Written law of what handball is.
Get it in paper.
And go through all the different scenarios. If it bounces off your foot. If you go for a header. If another player hits it into your hand, because I think they're two complete different situations. I think if you hit it into your own hand when you've gone up for a header, because everyone that goes up for a header to use momentum and power, it's like that. Yeah. So I think that's a different scenario to someone next to you headers it into your arm, even though they're 20 centimeters away, your arm shouldn't be up. So that's a lot different scenario.
But if you're jumping... Because you think you're going to head the ball. But
then that's another scenario in itself. Yeah. I think any momentum-driven jump should be allowed the hands up.
Cannot be,
But I don't even care if they want to give that handball. Consistency. Make the law up, whatever you want it to be, and go by the law that you establish.
Well, bun this law, because I'm not having penalties for that.
But I'm not happy with it either. But I want consistency.
Well, I consistently shit in this game, because I gave both. So the first one, I'm sure... It was.
But they have to give after they give the first one. They have to give the second.
But it's embarrassment. The first one was flicked on, and the second one was just jumping, and it just ended up bouncing off a hand. So it's just
verdict really comes when you look at game to game, like in similar match weeks or the same match weeks, because then you get different referees, different VAR panel, who, although they might have seen the previous one, it's still up.
But that's the thing. The on-field ref never gave it. There's a VAR said, come have a look at this. Come have a look at this.
VAR has ruined football.
I've got something to say on the midweek show in terms of the blue cards and VAR.
Oh, don't get me started there. Every single manager's come out and been against it. I don't get it whatsoever because you've got so many tackles. Like, what are you going to do? So if a goalkeeper like does something, are you going to blue card them for 10 minutes?
It's introduced for abuse. But abuse only comes because VAR's dog shit. That's basically where I come from.
Yeah, but it's not just... and dangerous tackles that aren't a red card.
It's only made for those sort of like Chiellinis and Sakas, or like yesterday where Alphonse took out Saka.
I think the like Chiellinis and Sakas of the world shouldn't in a final like that. Imagine you ruin a final, how good that final was.
But they think they're not ruining it because...
You ruin it and put someone off for 10 minutes. That's a long time.
Yeah, but it's not 90 minutes. And it's not yellow carding and restricting a team a goal-scoring opportunity.
I think yellow card's already a restriction. For a centre-back or a goalkeeper or someone like that to get...
But deep in a game like that, I'd always do that.
That wasn't deep in the game, though. That was
second
like
half.
55 minutes into the game. With extra time still to come, which means Chiellini is playing on a tightrope the whole rest of the game.
I think I think blue cards are perfect for that.
No,
I'm not sure about the abuse.
So you'd be happy in a final of that nature, a game so significant that the eyes are on it, for them to go, blue card, sin bin, like...
I understand. That makes sense.
No, it does not need to be a sin bin in football.
In every other sport, they've introduced stuff like unsportsmanlike fouls in basketball.
They're very, very different.
Flags in NFL Super Bowl today.
I think it's very, very different.
Denying an open goal-scoring opportunity by just pulling someone down or hacking someone, like Valverde in the Super Cup last year.
Yeah, but he got a red card.
But what if someone was just ahead of him? So it's not a red card, it's yellow. So Atletico don't lose anyone.
But if someone was just ahead of him, then he probably wouldn't have done the tackle.
That's the Chiellini thing, though. No one was stopping Saka running through on goal, but Bonucci was just ahead of the
halfway
line
on the touchline, though.
Yeah, but
you
Bonucci
can never
was
give
just
that
ahead
a
of the
red.
line. Bonucci ain't going to catch Saka. Neither was if Ramos or Rudiger was, just behind Fede Valverde. But, he hacks him down. But because he's the last man, it's red card, whereas Chiellini and Bonucci were separated by inches.
No, that's also where it was on the pitch. It was in his own half.
Fede Valverde was just past halfway. Chiellini was just past halfway. What's the difference?
Yeah, but it's on the touchline. He's still got to cut in. I think you discredit how fast footballers are.
Saka would have... He is burning those two Italian centre-backs. No chance in hell.
Not when they're in the middle of the pitch, though, and they can cut across him.
Saka, it's a goal. It was a goal denied. Valverde's a goal denied. That's why I compare the two of them. I'm fine doing blue cards for that. So you're actually
happy for them to bring blue cards in?
But not for abuse, because abuse comes because of VAR's rubbish.
Nah. No way. You're going to ruin the game. There is no world. So
you see, you talk to any, I know, and this is going to be biased, but you talk to any other England fan in that day, you don't reckon Chiellini ruined the game for them?
I think they believe that Chiellini should have got a red card. But if you got to ask them for that exact instant,
but look, you're not giving a red card. You're giving him a chance to go off, but he can come back on because it's not a red card enough offence that he's the last man, but it's denied a goal scoring opportunity.
I guarantee you go talk to England fans about this blue card thing, and they'll just laugh at you.
We'll send him off then.
Well, I'd be more open to him getting sent off.
Then I'm fine with it. But referees bitch you because if you're not this much or this far over, if you're this side or this side, one's yellow, one's red. What's the difference?
I think in games like that, though, I think if that was in any other game,
so what? The first weekend of a Premier League season should be the same as we're just talking about this continuity. You're telling me a Euro final should be the same as a. I always say this. You have a goal on me of this because I did. You say I say derbies. You say that more things go.
I got a very good example for you. Why does the whistle go away in an AFL Grand Final?
This is what I tell you every time. I say in a Liverpool United game, I say you let the whistle go. But you're like, no, it shouldn't be different for a derby to a normal game. Well, that's my point. So now you're telling me that because it's a Euro final versus week 4 in the Premier League, but you're the one asking for continuity in VAR and continuity in the rules. So make your mind, pick your poison.
I just don't know if that's a clear and obvious red card.
Chiellini strangling Saka in half.
Straight red, guaranteed.
Go on, get him out. But if you're not going to do it, give him a blue card because it was a goal-scoring opportunity.
Okay, disregard whether there are events that a blue card could be officiated. You think the blue card idea is
I think it works for that. Yeah, absolutely. For the Fede Valverde's, for for the Casemiro type tackles, for that Chiellini
And
tackle.
what's the ruling behind this? So you can't sub them off straight away?
Well, because they're off and in the bin. You can sub them off once they finish their 10 minutes. Because then what's the point of having a 10-minute off the field thing? You gotta penalise them for something.
I just don't know if it works, and I'll tell you also why I don't know. It's going to cause a lot of injuries.
Because that's your point.
Football.
You talk about yellow cards.
A lot of injuries in football.
You talk about yellow cards. You're not punishing someone because then you can just sub them off. You can just sub the yellow card guy.
The sports that have a sin bin in it are stop-start sports. I'm telling you right now, you go play in the middle of a soccer game and you stop for 10 minutes and you have to sit on the sideline. But it's not like you can do run-throughs.
What about the VARs that you stop for 5 minutes while I look at a screen for 5 minutes?
I think that has an impact on the players. I don't agree with that either, though.
Okay, good. Yeah, good. At least
I think that has an impact on players like doing the hamstring and stuff.
the first thing you do is stop the 10-minute at a time rule as well.
There's been a big thing in like Premier League players and their ACLs and stuff. That's been forever because in football, unfortunately, you're always going to have these rapid change of directions. Yeah. Your studs might get stuck. But there's been a lot more hamstring injuries
since World Cup.
Since the World Cup.
Because you're playing 100 minutes instead of 94.
But I'm saying these stuff, when you start as well, he comes back onto the field and he's got a last-minute sprint. He's going to blow his hamstring.
Well, don't hack the guy on the halfway line. Because they're not going to just hand it out. This is for a very unique situation where you're denying a goal-scoring opportunity, but you aren't the last man.
But if you're not the last man, there's always the potential that that other person was going to get to it.
Potato, mate. Bonucci ain't going to get across. If Rudiger was next, he ain't going to get across to stop the Griezmann running through on goal.
That's a very hard one, Prez.
I think that is the most perfect situation for the World Cup.
I just don't think there's any situation to sit and bin a football player.
Well, send them off then. Because referees bitch it. They never send them off. Tell me a time where it was 50-50 and they never go red. They always go yellow.
I'm going to be genuinely honest with you. I'd rather that be a red than what like Casemiro did,
that's what I'm going for,
did, and that
but referees don't give them reds because the rules are so, you have to be so blatantly last man and awful challenge to get rid of a red.
I just think
they've gotten rid of keepers getting red cards now.
I think they've got to bring back the red card rule where it's a 1 week sit off. Instead of this 3 week stuff. Because I think it's also big on that. Like, do you not think that comes into play a little bit?
Let's just stop yellow carding for nothing offences as well then, if they're going to do that then. Because the yellow cards accumulate and they end up getting these big these suspensions anyway.
Yeah, but you only get a 1 week.
But
1 week when you get accumulation of yellow cards.
If you're going to tone back on the red card giving, tone back on the yellow card.
No, I don't disagree with that either. But what I'm saying is, do you not think that's a big part of why red cards aren't going out as well? Because you look at it, you got to give 3 weeks sitting on the sideline for maybe.
I don't think refs are thinking about that. They're just thinking about there's so many different things. It has to be goal, has to be a goal opportunity, has to be 1-on-1 with a keeper, has to be This is obviously the run on.
Should be blatant 1-on-1 with the keeper to get a red card. I'm still not in agreement that those type of situations. I only think when like literally the guy is guaranteed to get a shot off, that it should be a red card.
I agree with that. But then that's when, if you're not going to allow the 50-50s to go red card,
but I'm not talking about something on the sideline of the halfway line.
You cannot tell me that anyone's going to catch him. Bukayo Saka versus 37-year-old, 36-year-olds. There's no chance.
It's not the offside rule. Why isn't offside in your own half then? It's like that type of. It goes back. It's so far away from the goal that you can never know what's going to happen. If we're not talking the Valverde one, I completely agree. That's on the edge of the 18-yard box. But I'm pretty sure he got red carded either way.
He was in the halfway line. This is not this year. It was like where he just blatantly just kicked him.
The Morata one.
But yeah, he basically just kicked him. He was on like the halfway line.
Yeah, but okay, no, it was just inside his own half. Yeah, but he's in the middle of the goal, and there is no other player near. And I'm pretty sure he got red carded either way.
He did, but I'm saying, if
that is a red card then.
But I'm saying if someone's there, because I'm not counting Bonucci as being there, because no chance. He covers that ground.
I think it's very different. So if someone is there, and like Valverde did in the middle of the goal, and that guy is like 20 meters to the left, is a lot different. Whether it's Bonucci or not, they don't take the consideration. But I'm not talking about that.
But we're talking about the space of 5 yards that Real Madrid was just behind Valverde, just behind Morata, and Bonucci was just beyond Chiellini.
No, but I don't think that was. I don't think that's what I'm going.
Between a red and a yellow.
I'm talking more of the positioning on the pitch.
But the red cards are not subjective. If you're either onside, like someone's past the player, it's not red card. If no one's behind that last defender, it's a red card.
I don't,
so we're talking about
I
5
don't know.
yards
I've
difference.
seen lots. I don't know if that's necessarily true in when someone's on the touch line of the halfway line and someone's just behind the halfway line.
Who gives a shit what side of the way line you're... but if someone's behind you, it's not a red card. If someone's this side of you, it's a red card.
I think it should be more meters to goal. And Bonucci would have been 5
rubbish.
meters closer to the goal than he would.
That's just rubbish, though, because then you give more subjective bullshit. If you're going to go, if they're the last man or not, fine. But then blue cards are perfect for when someone's not going to impact the play at all, but they're behind, they're not the last man. That makes sense in my mind. Because then you're still denying a goal scoring opportunity.
Like Saka couldn't have got caught by anyone.
No chance in hell he's even caught. He'd already spun past Chiellini and Chiellini dragged him back. And Bonucci was up near the middle of the pitch.
But I'm saying, let's say it wasn't Bonucci.
He's still going to... Mackay Saka, he's quickest. He's quickest. He'll get to goal. He's got a chance to go at goal.
But he's got to cut when the other guy's got to run straight. And when you run with the ball, it is a lot slower.
It's slower, absolutely. But you're denying a goal-scoring opportunity. He was going to go through and have a shot on goal.
There's
whether it be someone closing
though.
in there, he might have quickened him up, might have shot from the
I don't think we're going to find...
area.
I think we both have different opinions.
I think that's the perfect time for it. I'm not a fan of the verbal stuff.
I'm not a fan of any blue... I'm just not a fan of this blue card crap, to be honest. I don't think there's a room for sin bin in like
send him
football.
off. That's what I'd just say. Send him off then.
Well, I'd think it would be better for the game in the long run.
Increase the threshold of the red card, or put the blue card in for the subjective bullshit in between.
I think that I'd be happier in the long run. Like, obviously, in that instance, I wouldn't be happy. But in the long run of football, I would be happier if that was given a red card than this blue card rule came in.
Oh, yeah. It would save so much problem.
Yeah.
Because, we got too many of those sort of half situations where you draw a line and this guy's just beyond him, and then it becomes...
And that blue card is just going to become more subjective again.
I know, and that's why I don't want it. But if there's a situation for it, because the subjective stuff's going to happen when someone does a bad VAR call and Bruno Fernandes...
I'm going to actually be honest with you. I think it's a lot easier to officiate a blue card rule if it's purely off abuse.
Of course it is. Because
I'd actually be in agreement.
They go willy-nilly now with yellow cards for
I'd
abuse.
be in agreement for that more than I would be for any tackle, because every tackle is up for...
You're going to have abuse their game. Judgment. I think you should grow up.
Oh, no, I don't disagree with that either, but I'd be happier, I'm saying. If you had to choose me two scenarios...
You're right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're going to bring in for anything, you think for abuse, I think for cynical tackles.
I'm against it completely.
Well, yeah, same here. But if I have to bring it in, I think it's perfect for the cynical tackle.
I genuinely think it could ruin football to a degree that people don't watch it. That's how bad I think it could be. I think it's super league bad.
When you see challenges like, oh God, who was in the weekend? I think it was a Stupinian. Barely touched him. Got a yellow. So if this is that bad, why don't we fix the yellow and red cards first, and then we can slowly bleed the blue cards out of its existence over time. But I think if you're gonna have to find a mid ground, there's your mid ground.
You don't bring something like that in, because once it comes in, it never goes out. So when does it actually start?
It has been pushed back because of the feedback it got.
Good.
So we don't know when it's gonna start. It might never start. It may be a figment.
I genuinely think it's Super League bad. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, that's... I wouldn't go that bad, but yeah. Interesting. Next game, Spurs 2, Brighton 1. Spurs get their revenge.
Yep.
96-minute Brennan Johnson goal. Of course, Son comes back and puts the cross in to find Brennan Johnson. Spurs, big win. Now they're in the top 4, considering Aston Villa lost the next day. That was massive for them. Going in the right direction. Like I said, a few players coming back and sorting themselves out. The back 4 is back. I think it's the biggest thing. Now they're playing without confidence. Got the Rolls Royce in Van der Ven. You got the Butcher and Romero in his own way. And then you got that midfield. I like Bentancur. I think he's a superstar player, but it means Basuma or Sarr to miss out. And I feel like those two played good together. So it feels like you're playing Bentancur.
I think they allow Maddison more freedom.
Absolutely. If you play Sarr and Bentancur, Maddison's free roam.
Yeah.
Maddison he did go anywhere. I don't know if you watched, but he was popping up everywhere in the back half, picking the ball up, playing the long ping balls, getting in behind the striker, laying it off for a child. He was everywhere. And Spurs, they could have won a little bit more. It was back and forth, actually. Both teams could have scored goals. I know some of Vicario's saves were ridiculous in this game, like full stretch.
He's coming out of nowhere well. He's
National
not
team.
far off taking the Italy seat off Donnarumma.
Right now, I'd have him in over. He's made some, because of Premier League, obviously, you see a little bit more of him. But
yeah, I couldn't even tell you what Donnarumma was doing at PSG.
I don't care less.
Good, bad,
couldn't
whatever.
care about Ligue 1. So he's been ridiculous. And I can't lie and say I knew what he was doing in Serie A. But apparently this is what he was doing. This is apparently what he was doing in Serie A, making these big saves and good with his feet. I think that's one of the signs.
You know when they signed him, did we not have a big conversation how they signed him as a backup keeper?
You might have.
I swear we did. We're like, oh, they've got to sign a keeper. And they had Vicario. Like, even after the game here in Perth where Vicario played.
Oh, because he was awful in Perth, by the way.
Yeah.
I remember watching. He was poo ball. Awful footballer.
They're like, that's not their number one keeper. They're signing a keeper. And everyone was like, oh, Raya's coming, this person's coming, that person's coming.
Could be kept for the season.
But where did this Vicario come from? He didn't sign him for him to sit there.
No. He could be signing the goalkeeper of the year.
Yeah, there's definitely potential for it.
Good save percentage, consistent, massive, just in terms of just in general. And Richarlison did get the goal, but again, he continues to be good. Brennan Johnson if you bring in Brennan Johnson Son off the bench, you're going to score a goal. Like that's a difference, right? Like Brighton were good, they had some moments. Danny Welbeck could have scored early on, but like when you bring Son and Brennan Johnson, who's one of the better wingers in the league, this is now when Spurs start to elevate themselves, right? Spurs meet the big boys at the top there. So they secure a top four. Brighton, as I said earlier on, they sort of get themselves in their own sort of bracket with West Ham and Wolves in that sort of 8, 9, 10 spot. And hopefully Chelsea can join them eventually if Chelsea want to get their shit together. So that's where they're sitting. Big one for Spurs, tough at Brighton, and they get their revenge. Now the next segment, another subjective rubbish one, so there's probably going to be no debates because we're going to have different people, I think, in every single team. I got bored, so I think I went saying a bit niche. Impressive plays from each team.
Yep.
So again, I want to clarify this saying it's not the best player, it's not the most improved player. It can be either, it can be not either. It's just like a player that stood out. He said, yeah, he's played well this year, and obviously it's going to change because we're going to go from rubbish teams to good teams to all in between.
I've done it in order of first and either to.
I went last to first. So do you want to go?
Yeah, we'll go last to first then.
Yeah. I'll kick us off. You say off last time. I'm going to go with James McAtee for Sheffield United.
Exact same.
That same one. You know, a little bit recency bias. He scored a good goal last weekend.
I've watched one Sheffield
and he performed well.
Game, and he performed well. I was like, oh, he's a midfielder. He's got 3 goals. So I'm like, chuck him in.
Yeah.
I'd heard of him before, which is a good start.
I think he's a City. I'm pretty sure he's a City low knee
still
low knee. Very good for them last year in the championship. Very good for them this year.
Yep.
I would have put Souza in or who's the other Brazilian? One of the Brazilian midfielders.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
What about Ben Bertrand Diaz?
I would have if he played more games. He hasn't played enough games yet to convince me.
The funny thing is how his name was just Ben Bertrand.
And he became Diaz. He becomes Diaz.
He's
Chilean. No, but yeah, we can agree.
Yeah.
They're standing out in the rubbish team.
You go for your...
I went at a bear for Burnley.
I went Mdouni.
My guy Mdouni, I rate that. Good call. I went on a bear just because he scored some worldy goals. 3 goals, 1 assist.
I feel like he's the one player I didn't know before the season that now I know.
Mdouni? Okay, yeah.
Which is like a positive for me because I knew no Burnley players.
Yeah. Well, on a bear, one of them for me. I didn't quite pick up on that signing. I picked some other signings like the Mdouni signings. I was keen for that. And the Lyle Fosters. But Odebear's worked his way in off the left there. Great goal against Brighton. I remember that curling top corner. He's been super consistent. Not got the output, but fair play for a Burnley player.
Do we have the same one here?
I think we do. Decore. Yeah, Decore.
Yeah, I don't even think there's words that need to be spoken there.
The word that has to be said, though, is Everton have been shit ever since he's been injured. That's
true.
This season, I keep saying it, the best credit I can give to certain players is when they go out, like with Martinez, like with Casemiro, like with Decore, like I was with De Bruyne. The best credit I can give is they go shit when they're not there. Yeah, definitely. And that's the biggest thing. Everton are struggling without him, and 6 goals this year.
I reckon we got the same here, although there are 2 options, in my opinion.
There is 2 options. There's a Sissoko option, and there's my option.
So the 2 options are Barkley and Doherty.
And Doughty.
Right?
Yeah, Doughty.
Yeah. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it Doughty?
Doughty. It's like.
How's it spelled? It's
Doughty. Doughty.
Yeah, that would be Doherty, wouldn't it?
There's no CH there. Doherty's like H.
Yeah, or Doherty.
Doherty's H, not GH. He's Doughty.
Okay, I've missed but there are 2 options.
Who did you go?
Barkley.
I went Barkley as well. Well, Barkley's my guy. I've had a soft spot the whole year.
Well, I've heard like shouts for Barkley to be the best player in the Prem so far.
I think best signing of the season. I'm going to call for that. I'm going to
I reckon we got the same one here as well.
I think it's obvious.
Elanga.
Yeah. we're going to get the game a bit later on.
His
His
pace.
goal. Have you seen that goal?
Yeah, wow.
But mate, what's his name? Roadrunner.
Roadrunner.
Roadrunner. And he took off. And I was
Beep.
wait, my eyes. I rewinded
Someone's
it.
going to clip that.
His legs are like going a million miles an hour, and he gets edge of the box. Good finish. What has he got? He's got 5 goals and six assists. The big thing for me.
Which is crazy. And like, he should have had 2, really.
In this game, we had another one as well.
But don't get me wrong, I knew he was pacey, but I
Not
don't
this
remember
quick.
him being that pacey at United.
And here's me being a saddo. My TikTok feeds his gym routines. This guy's wham. I know he's so fast. He's built. He squats. He has all this like agility stuff. And now I see him in a game. No wonder why he's so good.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
the thing for me. Like the final third, we watched him for a year and a half be awful in the final third. Like
It's a lot different. A lot of his chances have been one-on-one, though.
But with Nottingham Forest, you're going to have to get that odd one-on-one chance. We have to get in behind, right?
I don't know if he got those chances at United, though, the one-on-one.
He's got the odd one though.
It was always like those passes across the box that he had to like. It would like be a cross box that he used to stuff up, like the more clinical.
I just think though, but it's still been clinical with the 6 assists and the 5 goals.
Yeah, definitely.
Has to make the right decision.
It's just one of those players though that probably isn't cut
He's
out for the big clubs,
and he's
just gonna
developed a lot in this season. I think underrated in terms
He
of.
could definitely go to another big club in the future.
It could have been a Spurs feel about it. Obviously not if they're going to kick on, but at like the
at the
current
moment,
point instead of the Spurs feel.
Okay, next Anderson.
I want Elise.
See, I wanted to go Elise, but I don't think he's played enough.
That's the thing because it's like impressive.
He doesn't need.
Doesn't really need it. He's played 11 games. He's got 9 goal contributions.
Yeah, wow.
And he was massive in that City game. We scored the penalty to draw it up.
Yeah, 2-0 down.
I want him to join United so badly.
Okay, next Flecken.
Neil Maupay.
I get what you're saying.
You can't tell
he
me
disappeared off the face of the earth.
he was the worst striker in the world, and now he's got 5 goals, 3 assists, and 18 appearances.
Yeah, wow.
And filled in for Ivan Toney.
I think Flecken's been really good in goal.
And
he was just a random guy that never knew existed. So
you need to touch on him. He's made some massive saves.
Yeah, huge.
Good assist against City as well.
Yeah,
Blasted it for the City. That he's been
Flecken 1 assist. Anthony 0. I've seen those stats going around everywhere.
And Maupay, you said it. He disappeared the face of earth. He was the worst striker in the world, known for the butterfly effect and butterfly effect only. And now he's become a consistent striker. Brentford, he's refound himself at Brentford. So
Okay, next.
fair play.
Reed.
You thought Bournemouth?
Oh no. I've missed one there.
Well, Bournemouth, you know.
No, I've got Bournemouth.
Oh,
I've got Solanke, but
yeah.
I read one above. So that's pretty obvious.
Solanke, obviously, 13 goals, 2 assists.
Next.
Fulham, Hewitt.
Reed.
Harrison, the midfielder, yeah? Harrison Reed.
Yeah.
Fair play. I like that's a good ball.
He's got 5 goals.
He has. I went Paulinho though, because I don't rate anyone at Fulham.
Yeah, fair enough. I wanted to go someone that wasn't Paulinho just because I knew he was so
Everyone
good.
knows how good Paulinho is, yeah. I think Paulinho just stood out with a bunch of shit. They're just, I don't like Fulham at the moment this season, so I want him. Chelsea's obvious.
Yeah, Palmer.
Cole Palmer. A shout out to Gallagher though. I had him originally. Gallagher's he's their most consistent player.
Gallagher would be one of those people that if I was in the underrated exercise, I'd put him in.
Yeah, I think he could be around that spot.
But I don't know if he's been that good. He's just underrated.
Do you not reckon that he's been their most consistent?
Yeah. From what I've watched of
obviously
Chelsea.
consistent of like there's not much to be consistent of.
It's just hard. You're always gonna in a team. If you go look at most of the teams that we've outlined, the bottom 10 teams, it's a goal scorer.
yeah, true. Yeah,
just because that's the only thing that can really stand out when you continually are losing midfield battles and losing this. Although you're the best midfielder and you're playing really good, he's losing midfield battles week in, week out. It's just always hard. Like it's like one of those players that just needs to go to the big club or their team to be better. Or maybe that's what he's suited to because he was also really good at Crystal Palace when they were around that mid-table. So who knows?
Yeah, it's a tough old game. But yeah, Palmer 10 goals, 4 assists. We had different ones. I went Cunha.
Oh, you
did go Cunha. Okay. I thought you got Neto. I thought for...
Nah, I was between Huang and Cunha.
Huang, though, we said at the start of the year, he's always had these sort of moments.
He's got like 11 goals.
But I know he's longer, but at least we've seen that. Cunha was rubbish last year. He was their only signing this season. There was a lot of pressure on his back.
But with Huang, there was 6. I think his highest goal scoring season was 6, and he's at 11, and he missed and
he injured and missed out. But Cunha came for 60 million. Their only signing. No one else was signed. They had no manager. There was only one thing that was new at the club, and they were desperate for something to pull up.
He's been excellent.
Cunha's been incredible.
You know, from when he started that Man United game first week,
dominated.
He put us on tilts.
Yeah. Deep.
turn in, out.
Behind the false
I didn't
nine.
even know. Don't get me wrong, I'd be a lot more safe now with our midfield, but
No, yeah, I get that.
it was really dodgy.
He's got 9 goals, got 6 assists.
Yeah,
He's done what when Neto's been away, he's done with Huang's been away. He's dealt with an average midfield, let's be honest. They've got a really mediocre
We had
midfield.
the talent. He was a big signing for Atletico.
Yeah, and best thing, he didn't perform last year on loan. And they signed him back, and I thought, oh, it's a big punt, 60 million on a guy that didn't do anything for you last season. What has he done? Delivered. Chelsea, that was a big game.
The Spanish type thing. Did he come? No, he's Brazilian, but
from the Spanish league. Yeah, I understand that 100%. Next team is Brighton. Who have you got for Brighton?
Welbeck.
Okay, cool. We never have a few of the same players then.
We've got a lot that are the same.
Welbeck is not. Hasn't got any of the stats.
I saw your shout on the thing when I did it, and I tried to find a different one, but I just couldn't find. I think, Brighton been. They haven't underperformed because I think their team isn't that great.
But just expect them to be.
Yeah, it's just it's when you do so well for so long, you just get an expectation from them. I think that's the best way to explain it.
And to explain Welbeck, he's kept Ferguson out. He's kept João Pedro out. They make João Pedro play as a left wing or a 10. That's
even though I think João Pedro is better.
Probably the bet, but the fact he's keeping those two out, and he's
crazy.
What, a 30, what is he now, 33-year-old, 34-year-old? You thought his career was washed. Everyone thought he was done after Watford.
Spawning.
And he's come back and he's delivered. Great. He's one of the IQ strikers of the league.
Oh, definitely.
Makes those smart runs and gets other people open.
Next, I reckon we're the same one.
Say your name.
Kudos?
Yeah, he's your little guy. Your best mate.
Yeah, I love him. Like, I think he's such a good player.
They miss
good
him.
Good work rate.
Yeah,
they definitely do. They've played some weird midfields. Like Pablo Fornals has been starting and stuff.
Yeah.
So I did make this comment in the group chat a couple of weeks ago when he wasn't. I just want their team to come back, and I think they'll start to string.
When Paqueta comes back, and then you can move him back to the right.
String some wins together, I think.
They're
in a pretty good position compared to what everyone else for. I think my prediction's still on track. It's not going to be a 5th or 6th or 7th, but I put them 10th. I think 10th is very fair.
They could land there. They could just end up being there.
All the teams around them are dropping points as well.
Yeah, they're just struggling in 2024, I'll tell you that. Newcastle, I think we're going to have different ones. I went Lewis Miley.
Yeah, I went Isaac.
Fair. Yeah.
Isaac, whatever you want to call him.
He continues to up his game, I guess. I have such...
showed... For me, the best way to explain it was I knew he was a good striker.
But he can continue to
I think he showed he's heading towards that world-class striker range.
Yeah, I think that, for Isaac, it's just like, he was so good last year, but he's continued to do it, even though Newcastle have been a bit, hit and miss.
Yeah.
And for Miley, you're 17 years old, your biggest signing's gone and gambled, so he's out for the year. You lose Joe Linton for injury at time, he's been inconsistent. You're playing alongside Bruno G and Longstaff, really. And one of his best performances came against
PSG. All I wanted Longstaff at United.
And his best performance came against PSG in the Champions League at Parc des Princes. Like, that goes to show you the player he is. This is a bold chat, I've said it a few times now. Euro 2032, Kobbie Mainoo, Lewis Miley, Jude Bellingham. That's the England midfield.
So no Rice?
Rice will be done by then. In
2032?
8 years from now, he'll be off the bench. It'll be Kobbie Mainoo holding.
Why not for the next World Cup?
You want a 21-year-old Mainoo and a 20-year-old Miley in a World Cup?
Well, if they're at the trajectory they're at, I don't see why.
Well,
I think they'd both be in the squad.
But I still think Declan Rice will still be kicking about.
I think it very much could be like Mainoo.
Mainoo should be in the squad this Euros.
Yeah, Mainoo. It very much could be like Mainoo,
Bellingham and...
Yeah, Rice. I reckon Mainoo and Rice holding it and Bellingham allowing him to do what he does a bit for Real would be
the false
scary.
But I think in that, maybe not the next... So obviously the one coming, I'm not counting that. So the one after that, maybe. The 32
What a genuine question. Do you think Mainoo or Miley, probably more so Mainoo, I would just say, just get a spot in the squad?
I think Miley will struggle because of Maddison and all the creative players. Mainoo might have a chance. We know Southgate loves to play like a million DMs. If he doesn't take Henderson, why not take Mainoo?
I'm just trying to think, apart from Rice, is he going to take Calvin Phillips?
I think he
doesn't
will.
deserve. I think Mainoo deserves over Calvin Phillips.
Absolutely, but he probably will.
So who do you take? Like, you probably take Gallagher down. You take Rice down.
I'd take Ward-Prowse, but he won't. He hates Ward-Prowse, but I would take Ward-Prowse.
Yeah.
Because that's a set piece. Like,
I genuinely think that could be a killer midfield, even for this Euros.
Mainoo,
Rice and Bellingham. Because I think the thing is...
I think Manu's defensively as solid as of yet, because if you're going to do that, Bellingham's going to... I think Bellingham plays on his own, just like in behind Kane. Him and Kane are like two strikers. So Manu in maybe the next
would you
tournament...
play Bellingham next to Rice and play Maddison?
I'm not doing that. I played two holders again. I played Rice and... Gee, who do you play?
I reckon Manu is the second one. He showed that he can do it with Casemiro, so why can't he do it with... And he showed he did it by himself as a holder. Actually, even before Cass.
I think I feel Foden as well, but he has to play off the left. And it's like,
Nah, I think Phil Foden plays off the left.
I don't play I play Ward-Prowse over Manu, to be honest with you.
It's a weird... Yeah, but I don't know if you want this progression with England...
I know, but do you want to chuck an 18-year-old in the Euros where you expect you to win it? It's a lot of pressure.
When Rooney was chucked in the Euros.
Wayne Rooney's different. Wayne Rooney's Wayne Rooney.
I know, he's still got 3 months. If he continues in the form he's in at the moment for 4 more months.
Let's see if he can make it first, because that's the biggest hurdle. Because if to get in Southgate's team takes a big deal, obviously. Knowing it, Henderson's actually been killing it for Ajax, so watch him start again next to Rice for some reason.
Okay, next on my list.
So then Manu, Man United. You did Manu. Talk about Manu, then I'll go my guy.
He's been a revelation in the midfield. I think the moment I really clicked with him, I remember it was a morning and it was the Real Madrid versus United game pre-season. Yeah. And we started a really good team, United, and it really got me excited. So it was Casemiro, Manu and Bruno, which is the current midfield we got. I saw that Casemiro held. Manu is very good defensively, and I think he can do the 6 job. But it's also at that time in his career where you don't want to put that pressure on him.
Not solo, yeah.
As a solo. So I think dropping as a double pivot, which is allowing Bruno a bit more space in the midfield, but it's also allowing him to show his attacking output, which we saw against Wolves.
Yeah, massive.
Massive. It's showing that he's not just good defensively. He's showing that he can really do that box-to-box type role really well. He's got a really good one-touch. He's got really good game awareness. I've seen so many times, like he's done like little things like a Busquets would do. You get the ball and it's like that half turn that draws that defender one way, out the other way. Like as an 18-year-old to come into United, and I thought it was going to be one of those things where I thought he was going to start the season off, but I thought once he got injured and United was in such a dangerous position that Ten Hag wasn't going to give him that chance, because it's a risk to play an 18-year-old in midfield. Especially solo, he was doing it at one point. Yeah. So I thought that was a risk, but as soon as that, I don't know where he was last year, because if he's playing like this, surely he was at least on the bench a bit more last year. I know he got on the couple times.
Carabao, couple of games, yeah.
Yeah, but I was scared when he got injured, because I saw that team against Real and it looked scary. I know it was a pre-season game.
Even Sancho was playing then. That's when you know it was
good. But it looked good, but...
Now, I've got a different one. I'm very passionate about this one.
I'm with you with this one.
Diogo Dalot is my underrated player. I don't think he's missed a Premier League game for Manchester United this season.
He's been unreal defence. I think he's the best combo fullback.
Yes, so he played left back and right back. He's had to fill in that centre half.
No, I'm not talking about can play left back and right back.
What he does on the ball is no longer just his only part of his game. He can defend well. He comes out for that.
That's what I was getting.
You know who he reminds me of? Challenge.
Obviously, probably not as good yet, but he reminds me of a fit Reece James, where he's good defensively, but he's got such good output going forward as well. He's probably the best in terms of a two-way runner.
I think he's...
I don't know any better two-way runner.
To contrast. So, like, when a game needs it, he can be the really tucked-in, tight right
exactly.
right centre-back. But when we're going against a bottom half team, he's basically on the touchline.
Do you know what he's improved as well? He's really improved this year. The crosses back post.
Well, yeah, he's a consistent attacking player that gets in good positions. But there's the polish of his play. Yeah, the goal versus Sheffield United, the crossbar he hit not long ago from another long shot. His 2 assists have been some of the best assists I think I've ever seen. And last night, Tommy even said it. All I had to do is get my forehead on it, and it was going in the back of the net. Because that had pace, that had whip.
That reminded me of a Beckham-esque cross.
I could put that ball in the back of the net. You have to just literally hit the ball, let the ball hit your head, and it was going in. He had pace, crazy. He had a whip. It was inch perfect, and he had a great first half because Luke Shaw was being put in his ass on the other end. That was probably more because Garnacho and Rashford were helping out. But Dalot, massive challenges, sliding challenges when they were through on goal, massive blocks right at the end of the game.
He's defensively really capable, which is probably the one asterisk against his name before probably in the last couple of years.
He's tacking as best he did back at AC Milan. When he was at AC Milan, this is what he was doing at AC Milan, that sort of attacking output. We haven't
But
never
he
seen.
didn't have the
But in the
defensive,
defensive output.
AC.
But
He's improved in that.
Defensively, last season he was much better. Now he's put both things together. Because start of this season and last season, everyone was like, "Where's that attacking output? Where's that cross into the box?" The last sort of,
3 months.
yeah, probably from match week 8 onwards, I think there's no one better in the United squad than Diogo Dalot.
I think that's a very fair argument.
I liked that one. Yeah, he's a good player.
Moving on next,
Top 5 now, the big boys.
Leon Bailey.
Liam Bailey.
Yeah, we've spoke a lot about him on the show.
Yeah,
and I
superstar.
think how good he's been playing. He went a bit off the face of the earth last year. Big
Yeah.
signing from Leverkusen. But yeah,
7
wow.
goals, 6 assists, put us on our ass last night.
Yeah,
Like, he keeping Diaby out of a spot as well. Diaby, who was like the big money signing.
yeah.
Like that says a lot about him.
Wow.
Both two
Wow's
two-way runner as well. He's actually
Yeah.
he's actually not that bad
I
defensively.
reckon we got the same one here, but it might be a rogue one. Richarlison.
Well, I went Vicario. After what I made my massive
I just think
monologue.
that like Richarlison went through that patch where he was like didn't score, but did he even score last year in Premier League?
No Premier League goal last
So
year.
no Premier League. He's what, 8 now?
Yeah, 8, 9.
Yeah,
I think,
after that start of the season as well, where I think the first 8 games he did nothing.
And he got benched, and then he's come
Yeah,
back.
and he's come back and wow, he's been excellent. Like even in the game last week where they drew 2-2, he was their only star. Like, yeah, I think he's changed. He looks like the Richarlison of old. Probably even his current form is probably the best he's ever been in.
Yeah, absolutely. In the Premier League, best he's been in.
Yeah,
There's no doubt about that. And I went Vicario basically because I think he's got some of the best. See, this is a weird set I found. His XG face versus goals allowed. So like the amount of shot, what they should score on him to what actually concedes is top 4% in the world. Something like that. You're talking about like Courtois, Alisson. You're talking about like the big boys, the Donnarummas. So he's in that conversation for a guy that again, I'll put my hand on my heart. Never knew who the hell it was. I knew he was a decent keeper that came for his feet,
not for his
shot
hands,
saving. So that's what sums it up for me.
This next team got me a bit puzzled because I wanted to put a rogue one out there, but I just didn't think there was one.
Only one player for me.
Yeah, it's Declan Rice. But I wanted to put someone else out there.
Who could you put in?
Yeah, I know.
Because everyone's either be at what we thought last year or worse.
Yeah.
I think Raya's been worse. Zinchenko's been worse. Saliba and Gabriel are just consistent.
Yeah.
Like you can't. I don't think you can. But Rice elevated his team.
Wow.
Rice takes them to being championship status.
I wonder if we got the same for the next two.
Don't think so.
Alvarez.
Bernardo Silva.
I get you. I just think that what Alvarez did while Haaland and De Bruyne were out basically covered both of their positions.
That's why I come from Bernardo as well, because he wasn't covering their position, but he was doing what they had to do.
Yeah, but he was covering. So he was playing cam, and then he was going to striker, and he just continually put in, like amazing free kicks when they needed it. And don't get me wrong, they weren't City of old, but he continually made them get 3 points to put them in the position they are right now. Probably with the likes of Bernardo Silva as well.
I think I wouldn't highlight that. I'd highlight the whole season if I was talking about Alvarez. I think he started the year off better than what he has the last.
But when he started off the season, he was filling De Bruyne's shoes.
But the whole Haaland gap thing, when they had the downturn, I think the only reason they weren't so bad was Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing, but I'm talking about Haaland and De Bruyne as a combo of both of them being out, because he started at cam, then he went to striker for a bit, then he was back at cam, now he's on the left.
I just think his first 2 months were ridiculous.
Yeah.
And his ability to be clinical in front of goal hasn't quite been up to what I thought he was going to be at. Because he started like he wouldn't miss. Whereas Bernardo Silva, I think back to that Luton game where they were struggling, they were back against the wall. He scored a banging like volley where he dribbled it, took it, belted it in. And me and Flynn have had a monologue. Me and Nathan had a monologue about Bernardo Silva. This is a guy that will critically go under the radar. He is way underrated. Like, he's one of the most underrated players ever.
Definitely.
6 goals and 4 assists. I think at the big numbers, but he's so impactful for this team. And Man City will not be where they are right now, out of that rough patch, without what Bernardo Silva did.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Liverpool, I went Diogo Jota.
Van Dijk. And I'll tell you why I went
Van Dijk.
you've
converted with Van
Dijk.
I
went Van Dijk for this pure reason. I was very big on Van Dijk, tough on Van Dijk at the start of the season. And I have to give my credit where credit's due. And I think he's the pure reason why Liverpool are in the position they are today, because we know that they've got a few other defensive issues, whether that's not issues, but the way they play, they rely so heavily on Van Dijk being at his best. He's the best man. Yeah. Trent is so good in attacking manner, and now that he's playing centre back and stuff, like dropping into centre back a bit. they need someone next to Trent that's going to basically cover for his indeficiencies.
Yeah.
Is the best way to say it. And Van Dijk at the start of the season wasn't that. Last season wasn't that. And now is that. Is the best way I explain it.
He's back to his aura best.
Yeah.
I went to Jota, 13 goals in all comps. Right now, he's doing the best job possible. With like Salah out, with Szoboszlai, being...
What's your thoughts on Nunes? I just asked you because he's got is it 9 goals? Yes, he's got 9 goals.
Nunes has got like 30 or like just shy of 30 contribute in all comps.
Do you know how many times he's hit the woodwork in the Prem?
He's Premier League recording for all that. For
you know how many times do you think he's hit the woodwork this year?
29 or something, 20. He had like 6 in a game, didn't he?
No, you kind of put it this way: the second on the list is 3.
Didn't he have like 6 in a game?
No, 4 in a game.
Oh, so what is that, like 20?
Nah, he's at 10.
Oh, I thought it was more than that. He hit the bus twice against
I think
Bournemouth.
that's pretty...
That's still ridiculous.
Considering second is 3.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But he gets a chance. Jota, I'll go back to Jota. Like, best header of the ball for a small guy, I think, ever. He's got the IQ.
Timmy? Don't diss Timmy like that.
Okay, we're talking about Premier League European players versus Tim Cahill. It's a bit different.
I'd say Tim Cahill was still a better header of the ball. He's the best header of the ball for that
size.
Yeah, that's ever been seen in the whole history of football.
I think Diego Jota is very, very good. He has the IQ to match the players around him. He stopped gaps wherever they needed to fill in for. And Liverpool this season have been so good in front of goal. And you talk about Nunes and his impact and stuff, but Jota's been such a clinical striker for them. Yeah, he's been clinical to the left or clinical in behind the striker. So that's why he's all-round game. He's always been good, but he's lived up to all those expectations this year.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's why I've got Jota in mind. There we go.
Beautiful. Well, 3 more games to get through.
Games. We've basically touched these games already. We'll go a little bit more in depth about Forest and Newcastle, though. 2 for Forest, 3 goals for Newcastle. Big win for them. Another one that had to win to keep up. Because if they lose, they go 8
2
points.
2 set play goals against Forest again. Excellent one, though, by Newcastle. It was obviously one straight from the training track.
That was good.
The one where Bruno finished it off with a volley.
Trippier's ball.
Yeah, like you could see that Guimaraes started like 5 metres outside.
Yeah.
That ball got passed and it was just perfectly over the top. But still, to have that finish, it's not easy. I'm telling you right now, it's not an easy finish.
It wasn't like inside a foot. It was like outside a foot.
Outside. Yeah.
In the corner. Wow. Very good fit. And then his second goal to win the game as well.
Yeah, excellent.
What a finish.
Yeah, inside.
Like, you don't say that stuff.
I don't think there's really much more to touch on apart from that. Forest got to get a stopgap in the... They can't continually concede.
Especially with
these setbacks. But they've got quite a tall team as well.
And they've got all these centre-backs and defenders they've signed.
But they're not necessarily conceding that many goals from open play. It's all these set pieces.
And Alanga was great in this game, but he gave the ball away for the 3rd goal. Yeah. Like, that's a careless give.
It wasn't, he didn't give it away for a one-on-one, so...
He rolled it to a tough spot. You rolling it out to the middle of the box. What do you expect? And Newcastle were...
Yeah.
Forest are great at home. Newcastle were up for it. That's a game if you... It's a chance you can bottle that and then you go sour. Arsenal 6. West Ham 0.
Annihilation.
West Ham have not won in 2024 yet.
Yeah, it is a little bit scary, but again, they're not playing there. I think they're very reliant on that team. They got a very good starting 11, not much backup. I think there is a few concerns, obviously, but I think they put they laid the cement. Is the best way to. Now they just got to polish it. I think they laid it though.
I'm still worried about this striker thing because we're not seeing the best of Bowen anymore.
Worried about what though? Because
I want to see Bowen. I want to see Bowen be Bowen. I'm not seeing that at the moment. I told you this. You're not going to see the best of Bowen.
Realistically, they probably aren't going to finish in European, and they're not any. I think they're still going to finish top 10 because you look at the likes of like Wolves and stuff like that are dropping points.
Wolves are playing better football.
Yeah, but they're dropping points.
They'll drop points
in
a tough
We've known Wolves have been playing better. Bournemouth are playing better football.
Yeah, but
the football side of it is irrelevant at this point.
But like, I think they're playing better football in the fact they'll be able to win more games. Wolves lost unluckily to an individual brilliance from Manu. They got super unlucky on the weekend.
Unluckily, though, they were 2-0 down and 3-1 down.
They're the better team for 50 minutes of that game. After
20, 30 maybe.
You don't reckon before half-time they were not the better side? So I think the first 5 minutes plus that stoppage time, there's 10 minutes there in the first half, and then until the 90th, whatever minute in the end of the game.
Oh, no, I'd go 60 to 90 is the only time they were better. Maybe for 5 minutes in the first half, but like I'm not counting that. The first half, we took the first half.
Yeah, 40 of the 45. But the 45, last 5 minutes, and then carried on for the second half. I think
No, it didn't carry on for the first 15 minutes of the second half, I don't think.
Had some chances. Some serious chances.
There's some chances, but they weren't the better team for 15 minutes.
I don't know. But United did like that. They conceded a lot of chances. I'm just worried because I think Wolves can pick them back. Chelsea can pick them back.
I get your concerns.
Because I'm all here for West Ham doing well, but I just think, why didn't you get a striker or just anyone?
Because they went big on the midfield. I think they'll sign someone. I think they got 2 gaps they got to fill. They got to buy another centre back and buy a striker.
Yeah, it just hurt me see Bowen not being the best player he can be. Because it's all good with him, his great record he had, but it's always going to come to an end.
You don't know if that's not what Moyes wants, though, because you see what Kudus and Paqueta are doing as, like, inside winger cams.
Wingers, yeah.
Bowen's the only person that can do what he's doing pretty much. It's like
I'm not doubting that. But because
there's not many strikers in the league that can do that.
Yeah, but I think a striker would be able to do that if they get more delivery, which Bowen will give them. Bowen as a winger... I know we've seen them this year.
Not in the game plan, though, that Moyes is playing.
I think they can because he's such a good delivery of the ball.
But
you get him on the flank.
You look at a lot of the times that Bowen has scored and the crew... It's not necessarily been... It's been like, load the ball up, Bowen gets it and just runs.
I think he creates for himself. But he can create for a striker and so can Kudus from central.
I just don't know... Yeah, maybe he can, but...
Because that's such Kudus on the right, Paqueta's on the left, things are moving... Play Bowen on the right, get Kudus down the middle, and Paqueta off the left.
Yeah, I don't think that's the dumbest thing.
And you get a normal striker, and obviously next season now it's done and dusted. But
fair.
It just frustrates me. I love watching Bowen play off the right flank, not down the middle. And Arsenal, this is their 2 weeks in a row now.
Well, yeah, they've done well.
Beating Liverpool and now beating West Ham 6-0.
If it's going to come, it has to come now.
Well, this has to be their run. They can't lose this momentum.
No.
You have to keep the momentum all the way to the end of the season.
End of the season. They can't have any hiccup for the rest of the season.
Because we know with them, their heads drop like a sack of shit when they lose a game.
Because City right now are like a raging bull trying to attack the red flag.
I think Liverpool are more experienced and a better team in my eyes as well. So I think they're fighting the biggest uphill battle. Because they got points to gain off Liverpool as well. They're 2 behind Liverpool with the same games. And obviously City, they're going to be, 5 points behind? Oh no, 3 points behind City if City win.
Yeah.
It's all getting tight.
On the last game. Onto the last game.
The last game. We've basically touched on it already. Big win for United in terms of closing the gap.
Yep.
And as I said, Villa, I'm worried. 3 losses in a row at home. After 13 months of never losing?
Yeah.
At least 3 in a home at
It's very concerning for Villa.
But
in the same way, you've seen a lot. When these teams have this huge rise to power, rise to fame, it's like they sometimes are going to have that.
They're going to have hiccups.
Yeah.
But this is not a hiccup now. I think this is more of a slide. Hiccups were...
I know this is a hard one, but I'm still happy with Europa League football as a Villa supporter.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't think they.
I'm not doubting that.
I don't think they finished.
They don't drop any below 6. No, absolutely. But where they were in a title
but look at their team. They got a very good team, but it's not a world class team.
Yeah, but it's not like they lost. United have had injury problems. Tottenham have injury problems.
Yeah, but they've got players who are good players, but they're not world class players. And when you don't have world class players. They don't have many world class.
Not world class, but they're very good players. When you don't have
world class players, you're going to have hiccups. It's like United. United are lacking a couple of those world class players. You have hiccups.
But that was injuries. Aston Villa have only had McGinn go down. Obviously, they had Mings at the start of the season.
Look where they've come from, though. I don't think there's that much to be concerned about. I think if they don't finish top 6, you start to get concerned and go, is that just a form thing?
They're not going to drop out of top 6, but we said this a few weeks ago. We always adjust expectations. And we talk very highly on Emery in this show. We talk a lot about him and what he's done. As a manager, you've got to work out how to fix this up.
Yeah. You
haven't gone through crises like those. Every other of the big 16s have all gone through crisis in terms of injuries or suspension. Tottenham was awful. I think that's the worst at anyone. That's so underrated what Ange has done. Ten Hag's had some big names to a world class, like world talent, all 2010s, 11s type talent in terms of like Varane, Casemiro's and stuff like that, and Martinez recently.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to get to.
But Aston Villa haven't lost that. They've had their whole team there.
Okay.
You lose McGinn for a bit, I get that. It's a big loss.
But we're talking about players that are inexperienced, players that aren't winners, players that haven't been in this position before. Just give them time.
I am, but
I think you
got to adjust
to
expectations.
The point where you started believing they were Newcastle, didn't you?
I think they're better than Newcastle. They have better players than Newcastle. Don't tell me they have worse players than Newcastle.
No, I think they got better. But I'm trying to compare them to like usual things.
I get what you
Newcastle
mean.
did last year.
And they still can do that. I think they can turn it around.
I don't think.
I think the slides getting. I think the slides getting
I
too
think they
bad.
can finish 5th above United, but I think top 4 is lost. I don't see.
I don't think they're getting above United. I don't think they're getting above United.
Oh, neither do I. But I'm saying they can. I don't think there's a world where they get above Tottenham.
Because the thing is, you beat Sheffield 5-0. I know it's Sheffield, but surely that gives you confidence to go and. They did take to United, but they started so slow.
I don't know if they did though, but I feel like they played completely into United's hand. I know Nana had a few good
World-class game.
Even though Douglas Luiz should have put that chance where Dalot made a little bit of a bad clearance.
Yeah, bad.
But you look at some chances like Rashford should have put that one away. Garnacho.
That just had a hat trick. He had so many chances.
Yeah, wow. That's what I'm trying to say. This is the thing. United started to create a lot of chances now, which is weird compared to what we're seeing at the start of the season. Touching on United before we finish up.
Yeah.
Their front three, excellent. A lot of youthfulness.
That's set now. I don't think you'd change their front three this season.
There's a lot of youthfulness through the team now. You look at the Star Boys. You can turn around if you want.
Wait, let's just turn
with yours.
Wait, let's just.
You can turn around because you bought the combo.
We got him.
If you guys are following P Money, you would have seen it on his story.
That one as well. Mine on the back of that one as well.
Yeah, class.
Yeah,
very neat. You look at those Star Boys. There's 3 of them. There's not you. I can't remember a United team when there was 3. Maybe we're going back to like
Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez. That's what I thought instantly. It's Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez.
Yeah, that's it. But and they're all having unbelievable output, unbelievable performances.
Best players.
They're the best players, and they're like. Hoyland's now started to find goals. I think he's got something now like 12 or 13 goals.
12 goals in all comps, 5 goals in 5 consecutive games makes him the youngest United player ever to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So
records.
That's what I'm getting at. Hoyland, I never had any doubts with Hoyland.
I think anyone who has a football brain had no doubts.
Do you know why? I never had any doubts? I was looking even as before this game that was coming up. How many shots, disregard on target, do you think Hoyland had in the Premier League?
Oh, 20?
I'll give you a thing. I think Bruno has had 60.
Bruno had 60 shots.
Bruno has had 60.
How many Hoyland had? 20? 30? How many Bruno had? How many Hoyland?
Bruno? Oh, you mean Hoyland? 24.
20, I thought so, yeah.
So,
no
that
service.
shows like we're talking in the right likes of like all the players around him were midfielders. So he hadn't had the delivery. Once he gets the delivery, he was always going to score. You can see he's a great finisher, quite strong boy. Like, excellent.
Pace and press as well.
Or maybe it's just Sean Mills.
The miracles come true. The miracle we've waited for.
Did you see that he ignored?
Yeah, he just ignored. It was hilarious. That's what I was thinking. Well, massive for us. I had a great morning. Being awake for that. I was very happy with it.
I didn't get up, but I watched the whole replay in the morning.
Absolutely. You got to watch the club. Love the lads.
Yeah. I'll be back on tour this weekend, this Sunday.
He's back to the uni
back
lifestyle.
To reality.
4 wins in the Trophy United. Aston Villa on a bit of a slide. They've got 8 points in the last 5 games in the Prem, so a little bit worried there.
Hopefully United can continue their unbeaten run in 2024.
Bring on 2024, the year of Ten Hag.
Maybe bring like a little bit of like an Ole COVID run.
Yeah. Prime away day.
Yeah, when Pogba was probably playing the best he ever played for United.
And Matic was the prime Matic of all time. All right, we're ending the episode. Winners and losers. I didn't prep you on this one either, but I'm sure.
Loser, Luton.
Yeah, I agree as well. That you said, I thought you took it with me at the start of the episode. You have a chance to go 4 points clear and away from Sheffield but look.
Yeah, genuinely have a chance that no one thought they'd ever get.
And Sheffield, the worst team. Yeah, and you're at home, they're fortress, and you look. And my winners are Manchester United, 4 in a row. Ten Hag's beating the whole can't beat the top 8 away from home thing.
I want to put every single person down that said anything about Ten Hag because I was big and go back, get the archives out, go back on all the episodes, get Flynn here. I was really big on 1 point and 1.9, and you'll say that point for me. Go.
When injuries come back, they'll be a better team.
They'll be a better team. Yeah. And you're going to say that our depth then isn't that good, but I think we know our depth isn't that good. No. We've now got Manu back from injury, Casemiro. I know we're relying on an 18-year-old, but Casemiro found a front 3. Hoyland you had to give him a little bit of time to get
He had a back problem as well.
A backline problem as well that we had.
10 centre-backs we've had partnerships.
Yeah, even I think the biggest one coming back in was Luke Shaw. I don't know.
I'm worried about that because it is obnoxious. So I hope it's not a tear. I hope it's just like a little strain or something.
Yeah.
Because Lindelof would look like a bloody.
Where's Malacia?
The bloke's disappeared for 12 months. Never been seen.
But he didn't do that bad of an injury to be out for 12 months.
Do you remember the spider cam shot of him like on the floor in the Manchester derby.
Yeah.
I just imagine that meme of like Malacia like goes down for 12 months, him just like lying on his ass. Like, he was a good left back as well.
Yeah, I'd be happy if
He kept Luke short of his spot last year.
Yeah, and you look like they got rid of the
Regular
regular.
regular now.
Yeah, I think
Delo's going back to left back, and then Wan-Bissaka right back. I think
is Wan-Bissaka.
he's a week away, so I think they'll bring him back.
Well, you got to do that.
That's what we're going to rely on.
Yeah,
We lost one. Anyway,
all right.
that's probably a sign.
Yeah, great to be back.
So we're done. We wrapped up. It was a good week. Good to have you back. Hopefully all of us will be back next week.
Hopefully, I'll be here next week.
We'll
And we can do a nice
consistently
midday slot.
Yeah, we're getting more consistent. We'll get it to you on time on Mondays, not at midnight. Thanks for coming on. Had a great week. Next week's going to be massive as well. A few more games to talk about. We're getting in the swing of it now. We kept saying it. Now we're out of Christmas.
Yep. 10,
12 games to go. United top 4. Arsenal going for a title. We've got some investment here on this couch here as well. So it'll be very exciting. Hope you guys enjoyed at home. Remember, 5 stars on Spotify. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. We're getting close to 400. We're knocking on the door of 400. And you know what? Like Nathan says, I'm challenging you guys 200 views on this podcast episode. We had a few good ones recently, so let's try and do that.
Get it to 400 by the next episode.
Done.
Well, next Monday.
Yeah, next time we want big numbers by then.
Yeah.
Make sure to keep an eye out Thursday morning for the midweek show. Me and Nathan. Big news with Real and Bayer Leverkusen going crazy.
Get the casuals off the couch.
Casuals off the couch.
The experts.
And the deep and meaningfuls on on a Thursday morning. Until then, guys, thanks for coming on. We'll see you guys next week. See you later.